Today, I want to tell you about a concept that I just learned about that I feel is very important, especially if you're an extrovert. So I consider myself an extreme extrovert, okay? At my highest, best, life mood, I'm at a party, okay? Used to be a club, but I don't know about that. I mean, I do like to dance. I would say probably a marriage between a house party and a wedding reception, okay? So when COVID happened, I went full introvert. I went full introvert. And I didn't even necessarily buy into a lot of the information that was going around. It's just that I had broken up with a dude, lived on my own for the first time, and I was really kind of like, well, I lived in a small town, so there wasn't really anywhere to go because everything was closed down. Unless you're just going to wander the grocery store, which, trust, I did sometimes. But I went full introvert and I took some time away for myself. Those things on Instagram or whatever where it's like, disappear for 3 months and completely transform your life. Like, I tried to do that, okay? Which I did completely transform my life. But I found what was hardest was after COVID was over. If it's ever actually been over, I don't know. After, a year. Where I said, oh crap, I want to now integrate back into life, but I found that it was so hard to integrate back into life. Like, I felt very comfortable being alone, which was great on one hand, right? Because my whole life I had always felt that I needed people, that a date night was better than a date night with myself. I just found that to be really just a lie. So I'm so thankful for that year. But I will say this, what I've just been learning is about the idea of social anxiety. Now, I remember one year I was having panic attacks. I did not know that they were panic attacks. Anxiety attacks, maybe? I don't actually think I know the difference. But the idea was that I was having these freakouts, getting super, super stressed. And then even in these toxic relationships, being so stressed out, using EFT, which is emotional freedom tapping, which is, tapping parts of your body that calm your nervous system so that you can get through really hard times. I even tap today, when I start feeling a little stressed. But the point is, I started learning this concept of social anxiety as it relates to an extrovert. Because I would say I'm not an anxious person, I'm an extrovert. I'm not afraid of people. I love people. And yet, I've been hiding away. Now, COVID was one thing, but when COVID was over, there was no excuse to hide away. And money is an excuse, right? It's freaking expensive to go out. Oh, you don't really have the money, you don't really want to go out. But that's an excuse too, right? Because there's many a times I went out with no money and it got paid for, if that makes sense. So, what was the excuse? What was the reasoning? And only lately have I been hearing this concept that social anxiety is a form of codependence, which I know so much about as a former codependent myself, of the fear that when you are going out and you're going to be hanging out with other people, that you essentially are there to please them. And so when we have the mentality that we're here to please others, we're not allowed to be our authentic true self. Because when you're your authentic true self, you might offend someone. Especially if you're me. And if you offend someone, then they're not going to like you. They're not going to be your friend. Or they're going to talk shit behind your back. And then you're codependent all over again because you're like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to not get somebody to talk behind my back. Which is a wild concept because I talk behind people's back. I mean, if we're being honest, some people I really like and I still talk shit a little bit. You know what I mean? So the idea that you're an extrovert and you're not going out, the idea that I'm an extrovert and I'm not going out, is just because I'm afraid of changing myself for others. It's like I hit a wall. When I was by myself for that 1 year and I learned to love myself, which I still have to do every day more and more, I just basically start to realize that I don't want to sacrifice who I am for anyone else. You know, I got fired 4 times last year in 2023. And I was myself, you guys. And I'm pretty awesome. And so the universe says, hey, Sarah, if you want to be an extrovert and get your emotional needs fulfilled, because aside from, you know, getting them fulfilled like through meditation and through, you know, other holistic ways, being with people is really good for an extrovert. It's really good for me to meet strangers, honestly. I don't even like the word stranger. Just a person that I love that I haven't met yet. Or I hate. Either way, it's fun. It's fun to hate. The idea is, if you're not going out and you're an extrovert, it's because of the fact that you're afraid of being yourself around other people, because you're afraid not that they won't accept you, but you're done pandering to other people. And so once you make that shift of realizing, oh, I do like other people. Oh, I can go hang out. But I'm going to be exactly who I am. And if they don't like it, then they can let that be known. I remember one time, I was so afraid that my mom would like disown me if she found out that I smoke weed, which I don't anymore. That's neither here nor there. I haven't for years. But I literally, it was like my life goal to hide it from her. And one day I accidentally made a mistake. And I accidentally texted her thinking I was texting my friend. And that cat was out of the bag. And you know what she said to me? She was like, well, you know, just as long as you're being safe. My whole life changed. Because guess what? I was able to be my true self, and then I was accepted anyways. And don't you think that these friends that you want to hang out with that are not going to accept you for your true self, wouldn't you rather them not accept you right from the get? And then you know that they're not for you? That's one thing I learned in reality transurfing, is the fact that not everything that's awesome and cool is for you. There might be an amazing dress that I'm never going to look good in. It's not for me. It doesn't mean that the dress isn't cool. There might be an amazing guy. He's not for me. Or a girl. She's not for me. And you can still appreciate those things, but they're not for you. I know some great people that used to be my best friends, but they're not really for me. And it's because I wasn't my true self. Or maybe they weren't their true selves. So when thinking about going out and having social anxiety, keep that in mind. Your anxiety is usually just built on this idea that you have to change who you are, but you don't. And please don't. And isn't that what the media and the world has been showing us over these past several years, is that we're all included in this world. We're all worthy. So be your true self, and then your real true friends are going to come around, and then there's no stopping you.